Welcome to day 2 of the 2016 U.S. Corn Belt Crop Tour. My name is Mo Agostino, Chief Commodity Strategist with Farms.Commerce Management. And it's June 26th, Sunday. It's another hot, sunny day, the second day in a row with no rain in the forecast. We're traveling northwest on Highway 52 towards Brockville, Indiana. And this has nothing to do with crops, but did you know that Indiana produces more ducks than any other U.S. state? Now, this is a nice cornfield here. It's some of the tallest corn we've seen to date, but you know, again, it's only day 2 of our tour. And this is looking really, really nice. Looks like 30-inch spaces here. As we continue our tour, we'll find out whether this state needs some rain like Ohio, where a lot of farmers were complaining about a lack of rainfall. Let's give you some quick stats on Indiana corn. The Indiana corn is 72% good to excellent versus the national average at 75. Very poor to poor, 6%. Yield last year was 150. The record was 188. We've planted about 5.8 million acres in 2016. That's up 3% from last year. For soybeans, Indiana ranks 5th in the total at 5.55 million acres. It's 6.7% of the total acres in the U.S. They're up about 50,000 acres from 15. The yield at 50 in 15, that's compared to the record at 56. And then we're up about... We're unchanged versus, so the acres at 5.55 is unchanged versus 2015. And then wheat, finally, Indiana is a very small grower of wheat. Actually, it's even smaller than Ohio at 0.35 million acres. That's up 21% from 2015. The average yield is 68. That's down 8 from 2014. And then topsoil moisture is around 68%, adequate, surplus. Subsoil moisture is at 74%. So, you know, both Ohio and now Indiana seem to have enough moisture in the soil to keep it going. But, you know, a lot of these, both Ohio and Indiana, look, this is a little bit further ahead than some of the corn in Ohio. So it might start to pollinate here in the next couple weeks, but both states probably looking about mid-July. We're traveling north on 121. We're just south of Rushville in Indiana, and just wanted to show you another soybean field here. This is stage 1, no blooms, no pods, no flowering, none of that stuff going on here, but still early. Not a bad looking field. I'm not seeing any cracks in the soil yet, but probably needs some moisture soon. We've seen better looking beans across our travels in Indiana, a little bit further ahead than some of the beans in Ohio, but compared to what I've seen the last many years, you know, at this stage, again, they're not as large as I've seen, for example, in 2014. We're now traveling west on Highway 44. We're just south of Indianapolis, and I wanted to show you this cornfield here. You know, if I give it a 1 to 5 rating in terms of health, it's a 1. It's good health. It's nice and green. Looks good. You know, it's not a 5 where it's totally brown and it's drying out. But I'm disappointed. I showed you earlier some corn that was at least chest to head high. But that's not typical of what we've seen so far in Indiana, and I'm very disappointed compared to what I've seen the last couple of years. This crop should be further ahead, and to me, whether I'm looking at beans or corn, it looks behind it. It looks dry. It looks like a lot of this area needs some moisture. We're We're now traveling north on 231 towards Crawfordsville, and we finally found you a bean field that is blooming. We haven't seen this thus far, so as we travel further north into Indiana, we're seeing the beans that are further along, and this is what it should look like for this time of the year. Thus far, in my 2-day tour, I haven't seen this, so it's worrying me as we continue in the state of Indiana. We're now traveling south on Highway 41, just north of Terre Haute and Indiana. And we finally found, I was getting a little disappointed so far, going through Ohio, Indiana. We finally found some tasseling corn. This is really good looking, healthy corn. We even got some ears in here, and developing small ears, but nonetheless, probably early planted corn here. But most of the state so far has been average to below average, just because of the delayed planting, too much rain during that planting season in 2016. We're traveling south on Highway 41. We're just a few miles north of Decker, Indiana, and we are going to end our crop tour in the state of Indiana. It's June 26th, day 2, and we just wanted to show you a irrigated field. As we've traveled further south, you're seeing a little bit more of that here. I want to distinguish between dryland corn and irrigated corn, and across the world we did finally see some corn with some decent ears and tassels on them. This one quite not there, but the good thing about Indiana is that despite the lack of moisture since we've been here, and it's not showing any moisture for the next 2 weeks, and of course that can change, but the nighttime temperatures are falling below 70 degrees. During the day, corn doesn't like it above 92. Today felt like 100. But it's an odd day. It's not expected to stay that way. But even irrigated corn, you know, if this field could produce 250 bushels per acre, if those nighttime temperatures don't give it a break, you can probably easily chop off, you know, maybe you're talking 210, 215. But for now, it's looking really good. The dryland corn in Indiana is very disappointing. We did see some corn that was finally tasseling, but it wasn't a common theme from our travels thus far, including the bean. We just saw too many short corn, too many beans that were just barely coming out of the ground, because the state really had an early start, but then they got too much rain, and many farmers are basically saying that they planted late, May 24th. You know, to get maximum yield on corn, you needed to plant by May 1st. So overall, we're going to rank the state. For corn, I'm going to rank it a 7, just because it's similar to Ohio, but I think we got some taller corn, some earlier planted corn. It's further ahead. So, and this is one of those ice states, you know, that's critical, because these 3 ice states can make up a big chunk of corn. For soybeans, again, we're going to rank it about a 7. Very disappointed with the size of the bean crops here. Again, late planted, although we did see some soybeans that were blooming. It wasn't a common theme, but it was ahead of what we saw in Ohio. So as an overall average, I'm going to rank Indiana a little bit ahead of Ohio, but I'm disappointed with what I saw. Why? Because I know what I saw in 14, I know what I saw in 2015. And 2015, there was a lot more moisture. What a difference a year makes. But if this weather doesn't change and the dryland corn doesn't get the moisture, we could be in for a lower than average crop. At this point, I'm going to project that it's an average crop at best.